morning and welcome to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Tuesday edition here on the program. Got a great show lined up for you. We have a driver that participates in Gator Nationals. Charissa Smallwood will join us here in just a second. And in the second portion of the program, we have All-American wide receiver Reidel Anthony joined the program as well. A couple of news and notes that we missed yesterday because we had a packed show. And we'll discuss this more next week when we have Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com who covers the Gator basketball team. We're going to discuss the Andrew Nembhard and Trey Mann entering their names into the NBA draft. I got a pretty good feeling Trey Mann will be coming back. We'll wait and see what Nembhard does. But in the meantime, as I mentioned, our first guest, Charissa Smallwood, she will be racing in Gator Nationals, which has been rescheduled here in Gainesville, June 5th through the 7th. And we got a short little video we want y'all to check out. And we're going to be welcome now on the Titan MR hotline. Welcome to the program, Charissa Smallwood. Charissa, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you have to be excited. The NHRA circuit announced that Gator National is going to be held here in Gainesville now, rescheduled for June 5th and 7th. That's got to be exciting to know that you'll be racing here in your hometown of Gainesville, Florida.
I know we were super bummed when it got canceled, with all this pandemic going on, but we were excited to get back out there, and that's actually rescheduled to the first one on the circuit after this coronavirus situation. So back out on the strip June 5th through the 6th in my hometown. We couldn't be more excited.
Charissa, okay, for a lot of our listeners, probably like myself, we're not real educated when it comes to this drag racing, and you drive a top alcohol dragster. Tell us what
Correct.
that actually is.
Yep. So it's a 300-inch. My father, Ron Griffiths, built the car. It's ICW race car. It's 4,000 horsepower. It goes quarter mile in 5.3 seconds at speeds reaching up to 270 miles an hour. Super thrilling, excited. It's an injected nitro motor, which means that the injection of nitro into the motor to get the car to run those speeds. Top alcohol has two categories. It has a alcohol blown dragster and an injected nitro dragster. And I had the pleasure of driving one of the nitro cars.
Oh, wow. So you've been racing dragsters for over 25 years, starting at 11 years old. Okay, so
Correct.
you just told me that the ones you drive now go about 270 miles per hour. When you were at 11 years old, how fast were you going?
Yep. So I started out in a junior dragster, which is like one a little mini version. It runs on alcohol actually, and those speeds were roughly about 70 miles an hour in an eighth mile. And then at 16, I stepped up to a super comp dragster. I actually got my state license down there off of 34th Street, and then came out to Gainesville Raceway that evening and obtained my super comp license. I raced that for about a year or so, bracket racing throughout NHRA's circuit events. And then we switched over to the injected nitro car when I was 17. I just wanted to go faster and didn't have that bracket racing desire. So I wanted to go A to B under full throttle.
Wow. So you grew up in a racing family. As you mentioned, your dad built your dragsters. How did you convince them to allow you to drive a dragster?
I don't know if there was that much convincing going on. I just knew that at an early age, I had followed him around the country. He was racing a comp eliminator class at the time when I was young. I grew up working on the cars, and as soon as NHRA announces that junior dragster class, we just knew that we had to build one and be a part of that, and then grow in the sport. Coming from a young age and growing up through the sport and being family oriented, we just knew that we were going to stick around for a long time, and getting behind the wheel and getting the most experience you can at a young age is always beneficial for your career.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, this is not your full-time job. This is kind of I don't want to call it a hobby, but how often do you have to practice?
So we take the car out, when right before the season begins, Gainesville Raceway opens up some test sessions. So we'll go out, every so often when there's such a big gap in the schedule, we'll go out and test for a day and just get some seat time and get the car acclimated to some new tunings or some new parts that we may have put in it. So we do try to get out there when there's a gap of time, but normally seat time is always beneficial, of course. But NHRA does give us plenty of qualifying passes to be ready for race day.
We're speaking with Charissa Smallwood on the Titan Nhra hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. She races dragsters on the NHRA circuit. And as I mentioned, the Gator Nationals has been rescheduled here in Gainesville for June 5th through 7th. So take me to it. Okay, I'm sitting in the car. And what's the last thing on your mind before that green light goes off?
Oh, a lot goes through your mind, honestly, in a short period of time. But really just listening to the car and making sure that, it sounds great before hitting that throttle. Just focus, you're focused on that light and making sure that your reaction time is just faster than the other guy because, you want that head start on the starting line. And then just making sure that you're focused on down the track. You have a lot of things to pay attention to in that 5 seconds. And just being safe about it is just your main focus.
So, like, I talk to athletes all the time, and we have different ways we prepare for an event, a game, or what have you. So, when you wake up on race day, take us through what waking up, and are you nervous? You get a good meal in you. How do you prepare for a race day?
Yeah, there's no carving up for race day. No, we wake up and we have our morning routines, safety checks on the car. Race day is very exciting. It's exciting for our fans. It's exciting for our team. We've worked really hard. And I think the excitement through our team through race day is just intense. Everybody has a job to do. Safety is number one, taking your checklist and make sure you've done everything to the car properly. But race day, once you get out there and you get in those stage lanes and you're around your racing family and all the cars are lined up and you get suited up, it's definitely thrilling. I don't know if I have such a specific routine that we go through as far as superstitions go, but we definitely want to stay focused and stay excited. Is because it's a very intense sport. No particular routines for sure.
You just mentioned it's a very intense sport. Pretty much where everyone's competitors, regardless of what sport you're in. So, is there any trash talking among y'all before a race or after a race?
Not so much face to face, I'm sure. I'm sure it goes on. But I think that as far as, NHRA goes and especially the top alcohol class, we're all pretty tight knit. We're family. You see some of the guys out there you've been around with, your whole life, and you're excited to see them. And everybody helps each other. So if somebody needs a part, we're always willing to hand over a part. And there's definitely been many occasions where I've needed something, and you can go to your neighbor next door that you might be running first round and ask for something, and they'll give it to you. So I think there's a lot of more, that tight knit family kind of feeling than it is more trash talking for sure.
There's some other female NHRA drivers. Who do you admire and respect the most?
I think that, Leah Britt is definitely somebody to look up to, and Erica Enders as well. They're both very competitive, fierce kind of female racers who have been around the circuit a long time, like myself. They are definitely very, very competitive, and I look up to them a lot.
So you're a mom. You have two kids. You're married. How did before your husband, I guess, did he know that you raced cars? I mean, was it kind of a shock to him?
Yeah, so my husband had never been around drag racing prior to meeting me. We grew up in different cities. He didn't go the first couple races, and then once he started going, he really got excited about it and was willing to be a part of it. And it's something he's took on too. He took on a role on the team, doing a lot of the top end work and bottom end work with me, and been really asset to the team for sure. But no, he did not grow up in racing like I did.
We're speaking with Charissa Smallwood, dragster on the NHRA circuit. And again, Gator Nationals is rescheduled for June 5th through the 7th. So, as you mentioned, two kids. Are they involved in racing at all?
Yeah, so my daughter, Nhra, she's 14. She just finished licensing in her own junior dragster. My son, Braxton, he's 11. And once he reaches that 13 age limit, he's able to license in this car as well. I have a feeling they'll grow up following in my footsteps. They've definitely been around racing their whole life. When we go to the track, it's a family affair. My husband goes, the kids go, my dad's there, we have our clutch guy, Mike, he's been with us, for over 20 years. So when we travel as a family, and they've definitely grown up around it. It's definitely in their blood as well.
What do you aspire to achieve in your racing career?
One more time?
What do you aspire to achieve in your racing career?
Oh, I think I just want to be known as a family-oriented, sustainable team. I've always wanted to drive for myself and our team. I've never had the aspirations to go out there and drive for somebody else. I think achieving as a team, a championship would be amazing. That would be the ultimate goal for us, coming out there and having a championship under our belt as a top alcohol dragster champion. That would be amazing.
What event or moment during your racing career has frightened you the most?
Back in Rockingham when I debuted in IHRA, that Pro Fuel Tour, I actually won the race on three wheels. So I got out about 800 feet and my rear tire blew. And I was roughly going well over 200 miles an hour. And I think that was the most wake up call moment in my career. But again, I was able to safely get the car to a stop. But I did take the wind lights, and which we were able to turn the car back around and come out for the final round. There in a packed house in Rockingham. So that was definitely a scary moment for me, but definitely one that, came out on the top end, which was good.
You said your dad builds your dragsters. Like, how long does that process take to put a dragster together?
Yep. So it takes time. He builds it from scratch, from tubing. So he can get one done in about 4 months, but it takes a bunch of different parts from a lot of different companies. Putting one together is definitely time consuming. You got the body work to it, and not only that, you have to make it rolling. Got to have a rolling chassis, wheels, tires, all of that good stuff, and then you got to get your motor going. As far as purchasing your motor, clutch, that kind of stuff. So all in all, 4 to 6 months realistically.
Charissa, who are your sponsors? And if anyone wants to be a potential sponsor or fan, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. So again, we've had some great people come on for Gator Nationals this year. Of course, my dad, ICW Race Cars. We have a local team, so bringing on some local companies is always a pleasure. We have Jim Harrison with Metavisual. He's done a great job marketing and branding us. We had Garrett Crocker from Wrap Spot. He put on that wonderful yellow wrap on our car and done our trailer wrap as well. Juan Carlos Topper with Innova Leaf, he's done all of our audio and visual effects. We also have Economic and Marketing Research Associates, Make It Happen, and Lightning Racing Oil Campus Outfitters. And a big thanks to our team for Bob Norberg and Freddie Wiebe and Bill Shepard and Jim Harrison. They put together a great team for us to come out and brand and get that going. And potential sponsors, we are interested in really anybody who really feels like marketing with us, that kind of feels the same way we do about racing. We're excited to be out there working with somebody to support us that has the same aspirations, family oriented. It's always a pleasure to join us and travel around the country marketing those kind of potential things. They can reach us at CharissaRacing.com. All of our contact information and email is on there.
Well, awesome. Charissa,
Yeah.
we appreciate you joining the program. We wish you a lot of luck. We're excited. Sports are going to be back here in Gainesville with Gator Nationals June 5th through 7th. Good luck out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Charissa Smallwood, NHRA top alcohol dragster, joined the program on the Titan Nhra hotline. And, that's one thing that I'll tell you what, I don't know if I would get in one of those cars going that fast. I'd be scared to death. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. To learn more, visit centerstatebank.com. Center State Bank, member FDIC. Our play of the day, which is This Day in Sports Now, is brought to you by Area Rug Masters. Is your whole family stuck at home and tracking in more than usual? Take your rugs to Area Rug Masters for a BOGO rug cleaning when you mention the code Shane. Call 352-448-5999. This day in sports, in 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses induction into the Army, and he's stripped of his boxing title back in 1967. Float like a butterfly. Don't forget, here in just a minute, we're going to be joined by All-American wide receiver Reidel Anthony joining the program. If you want to send us a text on the Titan Nhra hotline for Reidel, it's 352-353-7465. And then tomorrow's program, the Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the morning, we have Alex Marvez talking NFL draft, and we have the L-Dog, Lawrence Wright, Jim Thorpe winner, former Gator defensive back number 4, joining the program. We're going to take our first time out of the program here. When we come back, we'll be joined by Reidel Anthony. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time Timeout. There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning. And Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Coldstone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
He's looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to be joined here shortly by Reidel Anthony. Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Palmetto Moon, Skechers, Starbucks, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, Select Shades, Regal Cinemas, and coming soon, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. We're going to go down to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by All-American wide receiver, member of the Florida Football Hall of Fame, number 15, Reidel Anthony. Good morning, Reidel. How are you, bud?
Good morning, Shane. Doing well.
What's Reidel? You staying safe down there in Tampa, buddy?
Oh yeah, staying safe. It's not much to do, but just at home playing uncle to the 6-year-old nephew who's over here because his mom's sick. So been taking care of him for the last 5 weeks, and it's a challenge. Hey, I'm the first. I'll be the first on the record to vote that teachers get double pay.
No doubt about
double
that.
Their pay.
No doubt about it.
Not for me.
Well, Reidel, let's go back several years ago. I like to ask all the athletes to come on here because I think it's interesting and fans want to know. You're coming out of Belglade Central High School. Obviously, which coach was the main recruiter for you when you decided to come to Florida? And what other schools were you considering going to?
The main coach for me was Coach Ron Zook. Him and Charlie Frame. Actually, like both of them, because Charlie had a lot of connections down in the Belgrade area. Former coaches. One of them was our track coach. We call him Coach Dean Mike. His son played at Florida, Ray McDonald Jr. So that was pretty much, connection who he would talk to, all the time and get messages to me and Fred. But the recruiting process, we pretty much had every school, but I narrowed it down to Florida State, Michigan State, Georgia, and Florida, and San Diego State.
Oh, San Diego State.
Yeah.
That's too far from home, man.
No, that was perfect for me. That was perfect for me. No, the young really love to travel, and I've always been interested in what's going on around the country and wanted to see more. And back then, Marshall Faulk and that offense came down to Miami, and they played them tough. And it was exciting to me to see, San Diego State. Wow, they do have some players, and they was throwing it around. So as a just interested in doing something new and create my own identity. I threw them in my top 5, but never got a chance to visit.
Speaking of Reidel Anthony, you can follow him on Twitter at ReidelAnthony15. Reidel, so many great athletes come from that area down there. They call Muck City. And there's some great stories and talk about so much speed. Talk about, how the the stories of chasing rabbits in the sugarcane fields and things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, a lot of truth to the story. And if you want to witness it, you just gotta go down there during cane season and drive through town at about 4:30 to 6 in the afternoon. You'll see the kids coming back from rabbit hunting all day, and they have the rabbits tied to their handlebar of their bicycle. Some of them have little dogs with them to flush them out or to chase them, but for the most part, some have pellet guns. But then you have the daredevils that really go back there for the thrill, the entertainment of the hunt, the pursuit, and the kill. So, I've seen, some crazy things in my life, and the ones that go out there for, the hunt and the pursuit, I've seen them jump in the canal behind a rabbit, just that adrenaline or just to say, they did it. But the stories are true. The muck is a very rich soil. You can drop anything in it within a month, probably it'll grow. So, it provides a lot of, goodness to the community.
So, Reidel, you get here, and obviously, I mean, the wide receivers on that 95 team, it was you, Quezzy, Ike, McGriff, Doring, and I know you watch a lot of college football. Can you think of another college football team that had that group of receivers that talented on one individual team?
You got almost this year. Those two other SEC groups that was performing on Saturdays, LSU and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You look at LSU, we see the top 3, and that's all you hear about. But then, the tight end played well, Moss. But I'm certain they have 3 more, just waiting, chopping at the bit to get on the field in Baton Rouge. Then in Alabama, 2 out of the 3, the main 3 came out, but you got to remember Waddle returns. And I know they probably have 1 or 2 more guys that probably could do some things. So, in the last, 20, 25 years, those 2 groups right there, they were very impressive. I mean, they definitely complemented each other well, and that's what makes a good group. It's just like a basketball team. If you get a bunch of, shooting guards, who's going to bring the ball up? Who's going to do the small things? And they complement each other so well, and that's what we did at Florida. Everybody had their strength, and everybody stuck to their strength, and, we formed a great group.
We're speaking with Reidel Anthony on the Titan MRI Hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Reidel, talk a little about Coach Dixon. He's coached so many great receivers when he was here. What he meant to you?
Coach Dixon, yes. I mean, just hearing his name put a smile on my face. I actually spoke with the video director up in Ohio University, where he's a receiver coach now, about sending some stuff because they were doing a big story on Coach Dixon. I was like, shoot, I rushed to send it because Coach Dixon, he really helped just transform us, as young men, on and off the field. It wasn't just on the field, Coach Dixon giving us advice, but off the field. and it was always just real settled and almost like he begging us, but just asking us, man, just stop doing it. Just, you're hurting me. And, he just always found a way to, keep us out of a lot of things. Um, but on the field, I mean, besides what I learned, from my uncle who played in the NFL, so everything else I learned from Coach Dix. When I got to the NFL, nothing I hadn't seen. There wasn't any drill that we tried to do that we didn't do. We actually did way more under Coach Dix and, coaching and Tulich. And I owe so much to him because he was the best. I mean, he should have been in the NFL if he wanted to, but I'm quite sure he had his reason why he didn't take those jobs. But, whoever get a chance to get coached by him, they definitely come out a better young man.
We're speaking with Reidel Anthony on the Titan MR hotline. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Larry. Larry wants to know, Reidel, what was the favorite game that you played in your Gator career?
Favorite game. Oh, that's tough. I would say, I would probably say the Tennessee game, the 96 season, but you played in 95. I guess the one when I caught the 4th and 11-yard touchdown, because going into that game, Tennessee was building a lot of momentum. And, it was talking a lot of smack, as Coach Ferguson say. And they really, they returned a good team. They returned from the year before, and they had only lost one game that year. So they were, pretty confident in themselves. But, we went up there and jumped up on them like 21, 24 zips so quick. I don't think the water in the seats had dried up. But, hey, that's what they asked for. We went up there and delivered it.
We got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. Kyle says, great hearing from Reidel this morning. And Reidel, we just showed a clip. I think it was actually the touchdown you're referring to, and I think you jump into the stands. I don't think people realize how many personal foul penalties you would have if you were playing today.
No.
And I don't think people realize, when you go to you do your training camp or what have you, they come in with the new rules changes from the league office or what have you. Talk about the celebrations that you had when you scored touchdowns at Florida, and what would Coach Spurrier say to you after those celebrations?
The celebrations just come from back home, friends. They would recommend stuff. And the rest, in the NFL, I like to watch WWE, Monday Night Raw. And back then, when I was going to the NFL, the funniest dude on there to me was Alex Wright. And if you remember Alex Wright, he did this little dance, and that was like my touchdown dance, my rookie in my second year. Then third year, I went to something else. But most of the stuff, I would see on television or somewhere, and it would catch my eye, and then I'll just put some of my little flavor to it, and just try to entertain the fans. That's what they pay to see.
We got another text here from Joe. He wants to know, what was your favorite opposing stadium that you played in the SEC?
Favorite? I'd probably say Auburn had a nice stadium. That Jordan-Hare is a nice setup, and it's with the hedges, kind of like Georgia, but for the makeup of the stadium and how people are packed up in there, it gets very loud in there, like right on top of you. And No, I think Auburn probably the favorite. Yeah, that was a good state.
So Reidel, you go play in the NFL for a while with the Bucks. You decided to you didn't really make Tampa your home there, but you got into coaching. You went back and coached your high school a little bit. You coached with John Brantley at Trinity Catholic. What made you want to coach high school ball?
Well, growing up and playing the game, I always tried to learn what everybody do. Because I knew I wasn't built for 9 to 5 sitting in the office with a suit on type of man. So, I got into coaching. And my first coaching experience, I went up to Valdosta State and coached Division II football. And that was so eye-opening to me, kind of talking to the players and getting to know them. And hearing some stories on what really goes on at like Division II school, with some of those guys had jobs. They would go to school, kind of practice, and go to work at Walmart. Some had families, and one had like 3 kids, but they loved the game of football. And they don't get much, but I mean, I would put half of that team up against most of the kids I would run into in Division I level. And I really enjoyed it up there, Just it was just eye opening. So I was like, I need to get back to high school and try to develop these young men before they make a mistake and have to go JUCO and maybe end up at Division II, but just go Division I. And use this football as half of the platform. The other half, get education. So, I felt like I could touch more players on a high school level than, a college level.
When you talk about coaching, Coach Spurrier, he's one of the only coaches that I know that met with the quarterbacks and the receivers all in the same room. What did you learn from him that you use now when you're teaching kids how to, read coverages or run routes?
Just like he taught us. I mean, it wasn't no better teacher than him. And he made it so simple and almost just so easy to learn and pick up on what he's explaining that it was mind-boggling. It's like going into a test and having answers at this point in life. Like, you really learned so much. He made it so simple that if you didn't learn it, you just wasn't trying. One of those deals. And I learned so much for recognizing coverages, where to throw the ball, and his favorite, where to put your eyes. QB, keep your eyes down the middle, keep your eyes on him. And once you hit that hit, now your eyes come off to where that receiver should be, and you let it go. And if you did it his way, it worked. Now, if you tried the other way, 80% of the time it probably didn't work. So his teaching and his way of teaching the game, explaining it, was so simple that I still use the same kind of drills and same concept, same explanations he gave us. It was great.
We got a question here on the Facebook Live, brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. Kevin wants to know, which would you enjoy more, playing in the national title game or coaching a national title team?
Ooh. I'll say coaching.
Okay.
Because, saying you coach and you teach quarterbacks, just like I teach my coach and I teach receivers. It's easy for us to learn what to do and how to do it. It was easy for us to learn the game plan and know what everybody gonna be and go out there and execute like it's nothing. But in the coaching, now we have to learn what to do. Now figure out, depends on people. I mean, let's say in the meeting room, you got 12 receivers. Now I got to figure out 12 different ways to get these players, these kids, to understand what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because one thing I learned, everyone doesn't learn the same. And
Very
you learn
true.
that when you got to college. You know, we had some guys that you come in your first year and y'all you go to class and they veer off to the other way. Then you sit down and try to go over homework, and this person really can't write that well, and they sure can't put a sentence or a paragraph together. That just goes to show everybody learn differently, you know, and some people take longer than others. So, you know, it teaches you patience, which I really didn't have a lot growing up. But to see these young men execute what I've taught them is more fulfilling than anything I've ever done in my career. Because, you know, not to be cocky, but I was just a very confident person. I still am, you know, and I always believe I'll be great. And that's why I work my tail off and continue to work hard to find a way to teach every young man I come across, you know, how to do things the right way in their own little simple way of doing it.
Yep. We're speaking with Reidel Anthony on the Titan MR hotline, member of the University of Florida Hall of Fame. Reidel, I've always been curious of this because y'all had such a good team in 95 and 96 under Danny. How many times did you come back to the huddle, whether it was you, Kwesi, Ike, and bitch and complain, I'm wide open, Danny, throw me the ball? Because, you know, every receiver is always wide open. Was there a lot of complaining may not be the correct term, but you know what I'm saying? If the other two dudes are getting too many balls, how often was another guy in Danny's ear?
Not at all. To be honest, we never like came back and, you know, complained about being open. Because one thing Coach Bird teaching, he found a real little subtle way to teach this lesson, and I still use it. Because you can attest to this. The one time you have come back complained, he was like, okay, all right, we'll get to it. And just so happened, he called that play for you, and it's an incomplete interception. Something goes bad. When you come to the sideline, he'll walk up on you and ask you, well, I thought you said the play will work. You remember that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
From then on, I didn't question anything. So that's the story. You know what I'm talking about, boy. It just take that one time, I promise you. And that play never worked for that person. And I saw it for 3 years. They keep going, I was this coaching. And like, okay. And come back to it, it seemed like they knew what's going on. It'd be only raining on you. You drop that, something bad to go. And then he'll just real settle, ask you a question. Then when you watch the film, he'll ask you again. And he make you feel so small. So I left it alone.
No doubt about it. So, Reidel, you're down in the Tampa area. You work at a training facility. You train high school, college, professional athletes. Talk a little bit about that and some of the guys you work out.
Yeah. So I started, you know, doing the training thing about 19 years ago, along with when I was coaching back home in Beverly. And we started out as place called Performance Compound. And it started with me, the head guys, Yo Murphy, old teammate of mine, Logan McFarland involved. And, you know, I was helping out with the training. So then we started getting into the combine training. And we, like the second first year, I'll say our biggest name was Darius Slay, Mississippi State, still a hell of a corner now in the NFL. And next year brought in like Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson, Bruce Ellington, Denny Fowler, brought in some dudes, and it's just been growing since then. With the combine, our pre-draft training, and it's all headed by Yo. He comes up with programs, and I come up with more of the speed and the agility and the movement part of it. So, we formed a pretty good team. It was like two different people from two different parts of the United States, but we found a way to make things work. We explain things in our own way. But this past year had Henry Ruggs, the corner went 30th overall, Noah. I always told his parents I won't butcher his last name. His name Noah, played DB at Auburn. That's all I'll say. And just over the past year, it's grown and it's continued to grow into something I enjoy doing. Getting up there, like I mentioned before, trying to find the simplest way to get them to go out there and execute a 40, a 3-cone, a 5-10, 5. Like, you would think it is easy. You would really think that. But I'm telling you, it is one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life. And every year I put myself through it. Because I'm telling you, Shane, these young men, boy, they definitely learn at the same pace we did. That's all I say.
Interesting.
Trying to teach them, oh gosh. And I mean, over the years, I'm talking about some of the first rounders we've had. I mean, some of the things, there's the simple alignment on their 40 stance. After 2 weeks, they'll tell you, I forgot. I'm like, what do you mean you forgot? We do it every day. Every day. And the simplest, the warm-up, just warming up. The warm-up is the same every day. I make sure of it. I even try to use the same words.
Interesting.
But I wait 5 weeks into it, and I come out there and I just stand out like, all right, let's go. Warm up and see what they do. And 90% of them are standing there and look around and wait for the other one to move. Huh. And that's when I go off, because it doesn't make any sense for me to be up here teaching you something for 5 weeks as simple as a warm up, and you talking about you want to make millions of dollars. No, it's not going to happen that way. You need to learn what to do. But that's why I said and answered the question earlier about playing in one and coaching in one. It is tough to get these young men to process little small details. Mm-hmm. And it's sad that on the Division I level, they're trying to go so fast that they're not teaching anymore. And the fundamentals, if you don't stay on your kids about fundamentals at any position, most positions, they develop bad habits because they don't know what to work on. They don't know how to correct when they're wrong. And most times they do stuff that's wrong. So, the training, it's great. It's great. We're in the process of moving to a new facility down in South Tampa. I think you'll say you're going to call it the compound. And that should be up and running by middle of summer.
We got a few more minutes with Reidel Anthony. Reidel, got any good Coach Spurrier story for us?
Oh no. Yeah, I gave you one. and I'm gonna leave it at that. Don't come back complaining about the play. Cause if I say something about Coach Spurrier on this show, if we'll get back to him, And I don't want him walking up on me. I mean, repeating what I said word for word. And then he actually think I sound like that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
No doubt about it.
Hey, they gonna, whoever the viewers, I apologize, but y'all just don't understand the wrath that man would lay down on you.
Well, Reidel, we appreciate you joining the program, my man. Good luck down there training those kids. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, that's
Fantastic.
Reidel. Yes, sir. You can follow him on Twitter at ReidelAnthony15. We're going to take our second time out. We'll be right back. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning. And Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Coldstone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, podupwithshane.com, and click on the advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
He's looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. I want to thank Charissa Smallwood from NHRA Drag Racing for joining the program. Again, Gator Nationals is going to be June 5th through the 7th here in Gainesville. And then we're going to thank Hall of Famer wide receiver Reidel Anthony joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Tomorrow's show, we're going to have Alex Marvez from Sirius XM NFL radio host kind of recapping the draft, get his thoughts on it, talk about some of the Gators that were drafted. And then also we're going to have Lawrence Wright, Jim Thorpe Award winner, All-American here for the national championship team in 1996. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Gator basketball next week on Monday. We got a great lineup as well for the entire week next week. We will release that probably tomorrow. And don't forget, on Thursday, we have Shannon Snell and Tim Walton. And then on Friday, Shane Edge and Judd Davis. So that's going to be it for today's program. Be safe out there, folks. You've been watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.